Welcome friends, welcome back to the kitchen, welcome back to Cocktails After Dark, and this is a series where I have been exploring cocktails and trying out things, seeing what I like in a cocktail. And the lighting is subdued because it is after dark. So for all of you that are commenting that these videos are darker than my normal videos, they're meant to be. And this particular episode marks a turning point in what I'm doing with this series. Up to this point, I've sort of been grabbing recipes from different places, contemporary recipes. I've been looking at older recipes, but I've never brought out my collection of Prohibition and pre-Prohibition cocktail books. And I think from this point forward, I'm going to concentrate mostly on recipes from these books and give you a glimpse into what was happening during Prohibition or even earlier. So this is a cocktail book we're going to use today, and it's from 1930. I've got a bunch of 1930s cocktail books here, and I've got cocktail books, some fairly famous ones, that go back into the mid-1800s, and we'll get to those. One thing that is in common with all of these cocktail books from the 1930s and earlier is that the writers of these books all promote an idea of humility on the part of the person mixing the drink. They all try to get across to you as the mixer, it's not about you and what you like, it's about what your guest wants. And there's no right way to make these cocktails. There's a right way for each individual, but there's no right way for the greater public. And so you have to listen to the person that you're making the cocktail for, decide what they want. And if they want it sweeter, make it sweeter. And if they don't want the brand of rum that you think is the best brand of rum, then don't use that brand, use the brand that the guest wants. It's all about the guest. It's all about the individual drinking the cocktail. You need to make the best possible cocktail for that guest based on their preferences. And I find that, here in 2020, soon to be 2021, that is something that's sorely lacking in commentary about cocktails online. There is a certain group of ultra pedantic people in the comment sections who believe there's only one way to make a cocktail, and that's the way they make it. And because they like it, it must be perfect, and everybody else must conform to their style of cocktail making. And I also find that in contemporary 2000s and later cocktail books, the person writing the cocktail book says, this is the way you have to make it, this is the only way you can make it. And I think that's completely wrong. I think that if you're going to be making cocktails and drinking cocktails, it should be fun. Don't let those people strip all the fun out of having a cocktail. Make it the way you want it. Some of these cocktail books leave spaces where you're supposed to write in what you think this cocktail tastes best as. So we're going to get to those. Today we're going to do a cocktail called the Bennett. And this is a cocktail book published in 1930. This version of this cocktail book was published here in Toronto. It was concurrently published in the United States at the same time in Philadelphia. By the time we get to the 1930s, they start moving away from using ponies and jiggers and doing the recipes in parts. So this recipe today calls for Old Tom Gin, and I'm going to use Old Tom Gin, but I'm going to make it two ways. I'm going to use a contemporary dry gin, and we'll compare the two and see what happens. Okay, first up is the version from the cocktail book, and we start out with 2 parts of Old Tom Gin and 1 part lime juice, and 2 dashes of Angostura bitters. And then we ice our cocktail tin and give it a shake. Okay, got a Nick and Nora iced down. And we'll double strain that. And we'll do exactly the same with a dry gin. Same proportions. And this gets a double strain too. This is the dry gin version. Hey, Jules.
Hey, Glenn. Hey, friends.
So we're doing a Bennett cocktail two ways.
Ah.
One the way it's written in the book.
And one way that Glenn thought would...
Well, and one using... So Old Tom gin is something that's becoming more and more available again. It went away for a while. It was difficult to get. So this is the dry gin, and this is the Old Tom gin. And both of these are from this cocktail book. Jimmy's cocktail book, Late of Ciro's in London. And it has a series of toasts in the back that you cannot, in 2020, say in polite company.
Okay, so noted. We'll just smile, nod, and toast.
We'll do without the toast.
I did find one.
Okay.
May your car and my car never meet.
Oh, cheers to that. Okay. Okay, let's try the other one.
I think my preference of the two would be this one.
That one? Mm-hmm. See, I was going to say this one. So this is
Great, we don't have to share then.
This is the Old Tom gin, and that is the dry gin.
Huh.
And so that dry gin, I like that one. That's from a distillery here, close to here in Niagara, called Dillon's, and they start it with a base spirit that's rye. So it's a little bit spicy. It's got a little bit of that spicy character. The Old Tom has just a touch of sweetness, and I kind of like that overall in this drink. But drop either of them in front of me, and I think I would enjoy them. That's interesting. So, when you see Old Tom gin in one of these recipe books and you don't have Old Tom, you could probably get away with a London dry gin. And if you want to replicate that sweetness, just put in a little bit of simple syrup or gum syrup, and you would bring that sweetness back. But don't put in too much, I don't think, right off the top. Because even though this is supposed to be sweeter, I don't think it's that sweet.
It's a relative statement.
It is a relative statement.
So thank you for joining us for Cocktails After Dark.
From this point forward, we're going to concentrate on Prohibition and pre-Prohibition cocktails. See you again soon. One of my favorite passages from this book is, all such occult references have been abandoned, and you will find that your favorite drink's makeup is listed in terms of parts. So many parts gin, so many parts pineapple juice, and so forth. So that even a child of 5 may prepare his or her favorite beverage without the necessity of running to ask Daddy, please, what is a jigger?
Okay, so you're just, hey, go mix me a drink, child.
Go mix me a drink.